Hey everybody, it's Robert coming to you with another adventure into history, and I'm out here today with Mr. Dan, and we're at a super cool place. We're actually at a functioning grist mill, and this mill is actually in operation today, so we're going to take a look at that. This mill has been in constant operation by the same family since it was constructed. So let's take a look. First, we are standing on a dock in the mill pond. And then if we walk down, the mill is in operation, so water is being channeled from the mill pond. And the water gets channeled from there to down here where it powers the mill.
Originally, back in 1840, this was known as the John Downs Mill Place. And the mill burned in sometime, but my great-granddaddy came along, Lucius Pinckney Fielder, and built this building in 1930. And he and his son, Edloe Fielder, ran the mill until 1965. And at that time, my grandfather passed away, and I was 14 years old, so I was getting ready to make a little extra money. And my grandmother let me run the mill, and I couldn't deliver. I had to hire a man to run the meal route. We had 16 stores, and so he did, and I run the mill. And then when I got 16, I cut him loose because I could do it all by myself then. So I've been running the mill now 56 years, I believe, 56 years. I went to college, and when I'd come home on the weekend, I'd run the mill to make up enough money to go back up.
Yeah. That's amazing. So it's been in constant operation with your family since 1930. And
my grandmother Fielder said, I'm going to give you the mill if you will not change the name. Because she didn't have any sons. She just had two girls, my mother and her sister.
Yeah.
So I told my grandma, I can handle that. So it's Fielder's Mill. And of course, my name is Mike Buckner, but I'm the grandson. My dad told me right before he died, my dad, Harvey Buckner, said, you know, when first time I saw your mama, I said, when, Daddy? He said, his daddy brought him to the mill, and my mama was making mud pies down below the mill.
That's awesome.
And this was just a lot of fun for me growing up around the mill. This is where I wanted to stay and be and play and fish. I like to fish on the creek. And, the only time my granddaddy whipped me, and he really didn't whip me then, but I was playing under the mill, and I threw a railroad spike over in the water where the water wheel is. And I know he must have been watching, because he came under, they shut the mill down. He said, what did you do? I said, I threw a nail in my...
Oh, man.
Well, he went down in that well and come out with that railroad spike. And he said, you don't realize it, but this could have torn up the wheel. And he popped me on the rear, and I ain't never forgot it.
Right. So I videoed it before it started raining. The water comes from the pond, is channeled in, and then spins the turbine down in that well.
This is the headwaters of the Pachalaga Creek, which is an Indian term meaning pigeon roost, but it's the headwaters of Pachalaga Creek, and it runs east to the Flint River, and runs into the Flint River right about Reynolds.
Gotcha.
But the water, it's a 30-acre lake, and there's about a 14-foot fall between the top of the lake and the bottom of the race out there. 14 foot of fall gives the water turbine the power, which produces about 25 horsepower.
I saw there's a water wheel on the other side. Is that just something?
That's just for looks. I put it there because I like to see it turn.
Yeah.
And I was going to hook it up to something, a fan or whatever, and I never did.
Gotcha.
That's just a homemade wheel. I know my granddaddy used to have a cat when you cut the mill off, the water would drain down behind the mill, and it would leave fish in little puddles of water. And that cat would jump in there and get her a fish. She's a real smart, and she knew by the sound when that mill quit running.
Right, that's awesome. So to shut the mill off, you just close off the water from the pond.
Close the gate, and that shuts off the water.
Was the original mill, the 1840s mill, did it work off a pond as well?
It did. The pond was much smaller because my granddaddy built the dam larger with horses and mules and wheelbarrows. It was hand built. But the old mill, I feel like it had an overshot wheel rather than a turbine.
Gotcha. This is absolutely amazing to be here. I was saying earlier when the camera was off that it's like stepping back in time.
It really is. It really is. And what a day to be here. This is the day of Hurricane Idalia.
Yeah.
This is the first wave of it coming up through Georgia. We knew we would get a little bit of rain from it, but I think we're getting more than a little bit right now.
The mill pond is definitely going to stay full today.
Whole wheat flour. Whole wheat. Nothing added, nothing taken out.
Yeah.
Make biscuit and pancakes, waffles, that kind of thing. Today we grinded 1,200 pounds, so that's a lot of biscuit.
1,200 pounds, yeah it is.
This is what was brought to you to mill.
This lady has a business called Back to Basics 101, and she takes the flour out of it. I fill up her bin, that'll be 1,200 pounds. She'll take it and then she makes different kind of mixes and puts it in 1 and 2 pound bags and sells it in all kind of Georgia grown places.
Gotcha, that's awesome.
Organic, roll food.
So how long will it take you to turn 1,200 pounds?
1,200 pounds, it'll take me about 6 hours, because I can do about 200 pounds an hour.
Gotcha.
That's up, right? That's right where we're standing.
This is the printing press that Mike still uses to print his flour bags here.
Yeah, he does.
These are all cotton gins of different periods. That's Columbus. But some of these were made down in Juniper, Georgia.
Oh wow.
After the Civil War, the Loomis Company moved out to Juniper because of the big lake and the water power and a lot of people to work. And so these cotton gins may have been made in Columbus, but I've got some that say Juniper on it.
Wow.
And they stayed in Juniper till I think 1898, and they moved to Columbus.
Mike said that this was original cotton gin to this building.
This place, yeah.
Used to be in the back room.
Yeah, they were in Columbus till 1998, and they moved to Columbus in 1898, and they left Columbus in 1998 and moved to Savannah. So when they left, they had an archives of all kind of machinery, and a lot of this stuff came from down there.
Gotcha.
Just like this, they had a patent. They had a patent on this, and what it is, they could put a, and it had the same thing over here on another cotton gin, so they could run them the same speed, they could connect them together. But I have the original patent on that.
Well, that's cool. This other big one in the back, is it still?
Yes, it was run. I had taken it apart to do some work and I hadn't got it all back together.
Okay.
But it was run. I ran it. I ginned the bale of cotton back there myself.
Oh, that's cool.
Bale of cotton right there was the last bale of cotton ginned here in the 74, I think. 74. But it was hand picked and we ginned it right here. And I think that bale weighs about 450. But now all these other bales weigh 500. Or thereabout, 450 to 500.
Yeah, and that's interesting. We've talked about when we've seen people selling cotton before, like the old bird receipts and stuff. And it takes a lot of land to produce that much cotton, right?
Yeah. 1,500 pounds of seed cotton picked out of the field makes a 500-pound bale.
Wow.
You'll have about 2/3 of it is seed.
Yeah, gotcha.
And these cotton gins are just from the old one over there where it's 40 saws early on. They just got bigger, more saws. This is 80 saws. And so you could gin a bale an hour with this one. But they take you half a day over there with one.
So how does a cotton gin work?
It's on this arbor right here are 80 saws. And let's see. You can look over in there. You see those saws with those sharp teeth. Those teeth pull the lint off the seed, and then the seed falls down through between the saws. But the lint goes through, and then there's a blast of air that blows that lint off and pushes it, blows it on over to the press.
Gotcha.
That was somewhat of a cleaner up there.
The Loomis Cotton Gin Company pretty much led the industry in manufacturing these things, didn't they?
They were, you might say, the Cadillac of cotton gins.
How would you like to have this in your backyard? Right? I know. It's
It'd be
amazing.
nice to just sit out here, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I mean, this is, I was thinking about it earlier, this is really living history. I mean, stuff like this does not exist anymore.
No.
And being able to experience this is amazing. So this is a wooden turbine that originally ran Hill's Mill, which is located in Talbot County, Georgia. I know that because he's got that information on it right there.
Like old days when I used to run the mill, with all them cars. I've seen cars parked far up that road as I could see.
Yeah.
Backed up with a half a bushel of corn. That's coming off the hurricane, or that's just a front coming through.
Well, they said it was going to move up this way today.
Is that right?
When you need to sharpen the millstone.
You need to sharpen the millstone, take the cover off, and bring this arm around. And that big iron thing over there on the wall, got two big old hooks that hook on the side. You can jack it up, raise it up, and then just turn it over before you get to the face.
Oh, okay.
It's a hammer like what you'd hammer meat, beef or something with, and it's got little fine points. And what you do is you just roughen the millstone up and follow the old pattern.
Gotcha.
But all you do is roughen it up.